Hey everybody, and welcome to DGS Productions. I'm your host, D.G.S. Last weekend we saw the down to the wire finish of the 2017 Vibram Open, brought to us by the Disc Golf Pro Tour. This tournament really did come down to the wire and really laid out exactly how we predicted. On Thursday and Friday we saw a little bit of wind, so the scores were down, a little bit more safe play happening on Thursday and Friday, and then on Saturday people came out blazing. Ricky Wysocki, to name a few, really jumped up on that day and really utilized it to its fullest potential. Because then on Sunday we saw some low scores as well as some very safe and some very aggressive play that didn't result in good scores due to the weather. And the weather was throughout the entirety of the round, so there was no escaping it whatsoever. It rained throughout the entirety of Sunday's round and really affected the players in different ways. Eagle McMahon and Paul McBeth, to name a few, really did make some big jumps in order to attack that position and try to claim that top spot, but fell just short. Both of those guys tying for second, shooting a 21 down for the entirety of the tournament. Paul McBeth shooting a 1060 rated round of 54 on the last day, and Eagle McMahon besting that by one stroke, shooting a 53, which came out to be a 1068 rated round. Eagle McMahon there going into the last 5 or so holes, as well as Paul McBeth, were really contending with Ricky Wysocki. They were a hole ahead of Ricky Wysocki being on the chase card, so Ricky really got to calculate on where he wanted to hit and miss and whether he needed to play safe or needed to play aggressive. Going into, I believe it was hole 15 was where it really got tight. I believe Ricky was down at 21 down and Eagle McMahon was also tied at 21 down, again being a hole ahead and having that birdie under his belt, kind of forcing Eagle to make some moves in order to claim that top spot. Therefore resulting in hole 18, Eagle McMahon going OB on his approach and actually going over the stone fence, kind of knocking him down and leaving a wide open first place run by Ricky Wysocki, given any sort of meltdown. Coming into holes 15, 16, 17, and 18 though, however, I had no doubt that Ricky Wysocki was going to pull this off. Hole 15, Ricky Wysocki had dialed down the entirety of the week. In rounds 1, 2, and 3, he laced this shot. Not an easy shot, as we hear in the commentary booth from both Nate Sexton and Jeremy Colling, but he laces this shot every time. And then in round 4 here we see a great shot, however gets a kick and has a little bit, I'd say a circles 2 edge putt for his birdie and just kind of hits off the chain, or hits off the basket for his 3. However, that is no shame because the normal on that field was going to be a 3. So he doesn't lose a stroke there. 15, 16, and 17 throughout the entirety of the week for him were really solid. He really played well down the stretch, and he had some history coming into hole 18 on going OB and actually losing the tournament. So having that knowledge that Eagle had gone OB off of his upshot really kind of eased him and gave him the confidence he had to just kind of lay up and not necessarily go for anything that he didn't have to result in a mess that might have caused a playoff or even worse. Other things of note for this tournament are going to be number 1, Nicolas Masters. Nicolas Masters really came from out of nowhere. We've seen him a little bit before, but he really jumped up onto that lead card and stayed there for 2 days and played exceptionally well. On the third round, he didn't necessarily have the best round, but throughout the entirety of the round you felt him fighting for that, and his putting style was really spot on. He took confidence in that and really lined up his putt and executed very well, I felt like. Sadly, in round 4 he shoots a plus 10 round of 70, coming in rated at a 942 compared to his earlier rounds of 1061, 1042, and 1017. So that really kind of took a stab to the confidence of Nicolas Masters. This weekend we also saw the return of Nikola Castro, flying a little bit under the radar, jumping up actually to the lead card on rounds 2 and rounds 3. Nico we hadn't seen for quite a while because he had dropped out of some of the previous competitions, most notably of which are going to be the Ledgestone Open and the Idlewild Open. And Nico is somebody that is always very nice to see on camera. He always brings fire, he brings passion, be that positive, be that fist pumping, be that you know, frustration at missed putts or amazing shots. He brings everything to the packages and it was really enjoyable to watch on camera. So it was nice to see him rise to that occasion and kind of flash the 2009 to 2011 Nikola Castro that was the top rated player. Ultimately finishing outside the top 20 I'm sure was not the goal. However, after his round 3 and round 4 shootings of sub 1000 rated rounds, really dropped him from that top card fairly quickly. The last player of note who played exceptionally well and most notably on the last day was Simon Lizotte. Last week we had pegged him to take that top spot, and I think if he had played exactly how he played on Sunday with the adverse weather, he would have blown this tournament away. On Sunday he posted a -8 round, which was a hot round of the day, but he really surged, jumping 14 spots on the last day up to 7th place. There were multiple aces this weekend as well, with Cale Laviska getting the first one on hole 4, a downhill 250-foot shot, which got a skip off of the hill in front into the basket. Followed up by Philo Brathwaite, who gets a 420-foot ace on hole 14, the kind of picturesque and well-known shot of the Vibram Open, where you shoot over the water onto that sort of peninsula. And then the third ace of the weekend goes to Greg Barsby, who puts another notch in the belt. This one actually got to SportsCenter top 10, so congrats to DGS Productions, Disc Golf Pro Tour, and most of all Greg Barsby on that ace and for getting that recognition. On the FPO side, we saw Paige Pierce come out on top after a very tight battle and a very infortuitous round 4 by Valerie Jenkins. Coming into the final round, she was well ahead by about 5 strokes. However, she posts a 70 on the final day, which comes in at a 927 rated round, which was easily eclipsed by Paige Pierce, who shot a 60 in round 4, coming in over 1000 rated. So really Paige Pierce didn't play the most consistent throughout the entirety of the event, but really capitalized on that last day and the misfortune of Val Jenkins in the weather. And that's our show. As always, feel free to like, comment, subscribe, and check us out on Facebook for all your disc golf needs throughout the week. And until next round, I'm DGS.